Welcome back to Beauty Marks Podcast, a space where we embrace our marks acquired through our journey. My name is Liz Savillon, and welcome back to another episode and the first episode of our relationship series, which I'm super excited to have a special guest, one of my close friends, Jeyleen Silfa, Salas. Right? I said the whole thing. I'm super excited that you're here and we're talking about a topic that we talk about a lot and we've actually helped each other through on different occasions on our stories. So thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. I'm so excited to talk about this topic.
Yes. For those that don't know you, can you share a little bit about what you're passionate about?
I'm passionate about a lot of things, but I'm passionate about God and serving in His church. Recently I've been passionate about self-awareness and self-improvement. And self-care and self-love, everything about self. And yeah, that's what I've been passionate also about, helping my friends,
You have a really big heart. Very helpful. We actually met in high school, which is like crazy. We met in high school and then we went to college together. And just over the years, like we've stayed in contact and it's been great, like having you as part of like my life and just in different seasons. So today's topic all about breakups. You guys know that I went through a breakup. Well, I would say a few because I was in an on and off relationship, but going through breakups in the past year, and I know that how difficult it is. Like most people one time in their life will experience heartbreak. And so that is something that, is talked about, but not to the extent. And so I thought it would be great to have you share a little bit about like your breakup story and like things that we talk about that have made it easier, harder, have helped us heal, have not helped. So can you start off by sharing a little bit about like your breakup?
So I've been through multiple breakups. I think that I started at a pretty young age. My first breakup was when I was 12. And I mean, it was like a very childish breakup. But ever since then, I experienced a lot of breakups where it's a lot of like breaking up, getting back together, breaking up, getting back together. And I think that ever since then, all my relationships have been like that. And honestly, I didn't notice until therapy and realizing, wow, like I have been through this amount of breakups, and all of them have been me, getting in the relationship, then breaking up one time, then going back the second time, and then another time. But I feel like as time went by, it just started getting worse and worse. So, yeah, that's been kind of like my breakup history. It's, around a lot of breakups and, getting back together. And finally, when those breakups, like the final breakup happens, then that's when, you start I start healing and thinking that I was healing, because then I would give myself some time and then go back into another relationship. But definitely that has been kind of like one of the main reasons of like toxic traits, where in the relationship, definitely toxic, that back and forth. And
first, I'm super proud of you for going to therapy. I know like whenever any of my friends go or like anybody that I know, I'm like, go you, like that is so life-changing. And it's true. Like we don't see it when we're in it, but then after we're like, wait a second, like I do the same exact thing. Like I dated the same person and different people. Like that's exactly what it is. And I think that that's such a big step to have self-awareness, to realize like what part you played of like, wow, like I like kept going back to the same person and giving chances and all of that. So how you brought up the on and off relationships, let's talk a little bit about that. Cause I know that that has also been part of my story of going on and off for many years and like my previous relationships. And I feel like for me, it was that I really thought that the more chances I gave, they would like really be serious, and they would try to like love bomb me and like tell me like, oh, this time is so different. And I like really wanted to believe that it was different this time. But in reality, that wasn't the case. We would always end up breaking up for the same reason. But I think that I wanted to them to like actually like choose me and like want to really like be like commit to me. And I think that for me personally, I was like very like codependent, didn't have really good boundaries. So like I would say like I'm done, and then they would contact me, or I would reach out, and it was like back into the same cycle in 3 months. And I was like, how did I get here again? Like it was like
Yeah.
over and over. And I think it was a lot of like my own like insecurities and stuff like that. So like for you, what do you feel like led you to get back on and off?
So I grew up and I realized this through therapy that when I was very young, I experienced some situations where I felt like I needed to um, help like a family member, and I had to really be there for them. And even though at the moment it was kind of unfair because I was so young, um, and I see relationships all around my family that were either unhealthy, ended up in divorce, um, and also like going through the different situations of helping family members through like their issues at the time. Me being young kind of helped me develop a codependency to to the people that I love. So I would get in these relationships, and there was one specifically that you know I got into that relationship, and then I ended up being so codependent, and meaning like everything that this person did, I felt like I had some level of responsibility towards, what they did, the result, their happiness, them being in the right path. And so when the relationship would come to a point where it had to end, because it became so toxic. And that's another thing, like being a codependent and like an empath, it attracts, narcissists. So definitely that combo. And
Definitely.
definitely like it's insane how crazy it was. But I, it that dynamic was not healthy at all. And you said something that you said you dated a person twice. I did the same exact person twice. And that's because I went out of this, I went into this relationship, and the relationship was super toxic. It was me trying to kind of save this person, kind of be there for them and whatever they needed. And this person had goals completely different than mine. And so that was a toxic relationship that ended. It had to end. Um, that person actually had like a third party. I call them third parties. That person had a third party
Mhm.
in the relationship. And it was like trying to make that work, like breaking up, and then that person like got with someone else, and then
Mm.
tried to be with me at the same time, because
Mm-mm.
I was the codependent, meaning the good girl, meaning the empath, meaning, I had no self-value,
Mm.
and boundaries. So that person wanted to kind of be with the other person and me at the same time, which was crazy, and would
Mhm.
promise me that they would leave them, and I
Mm.
would believe it. And that never happened, obviously,
Yeah.
until one like until I decided I got the opportunity to separate myself.
Mm,
I relocated to another city, and that helped me a lot to
mm,
separate myself from that. And looking at it from the outside, I saw, okay, yeah, that's when it was like the big breakup, over, done. I'm sick of this. I don't deserve this. Or
mm-hmm.
so I thought, right? Like for that particular relationship. The next relationship happened the same exact way. Like
Mm,
it was it was the same exact way, a lot of back and forth. Um, me being super, super codependent,
mm,
like to the point where I completely neglected myself. I just
mm-hmm.
wasn't I just wasn't taking care of myself at
Mm-hmm.
all. Like I literally kind of like lived for this person, and this person was in this pedestal that they didn't deserve to be in. But because I had my own unhealed trauma from, childhood, I allowed that person to, do whatever they wanted in the
Mm,
relationship, like lie, manipulate, and I just wouldn't have those boundaries. So then it would be, it would end, and then we would go back together, like you said, thinking that this time would be different. Like I would invest so much. Like I had this future in my mind that I created, and I had to do anything, like, or anything I could to make that future happen. And obviously, like now that like saying it like that, it's like, Jamie, but you're not God. You can't just focus on, okay, this is the future, this is the outcome, this is how it's going to be, because the Lord is in control. And obviously, it was not a healthy way to act. But like I said, the trauma and everything that I had not healed led to this relationship ending up again back and forth, you know, and then till it finally, the breakup happened. And it was not until like a couple months after the breakup, because there was still this, cycle, that you cannot just break out of the relationship just like one day. It was until I experienced the true heartbreak that I was able to kind of like make the breakup official.
yeah,
Yeah.
like you finally let it go. Like you finally were
Yes.
like accepting that it was really over, which takes a long time. Like even when you break up, like the day that you break up, for a lot of people, it doesn't really click in their head and they get to like that place. Like you start the grieving process. Depending on how long you were in the relationship, it can take from months to years to heal. And I love how you said you're like, you notice those things like loss of self. Like I talked about toxic relationships in a previous podcast about like losing yourself, having codependency, putting your needs below theirs, like putting them as a priority, like okay, dropping everything for them. Like it's like you're with your friends, they call, they need to go, you go. But it's like an extreme. It's not just like a normal, like, oh, I love you, I'm here for you. It's like, no, it's like you completely like let go of all your responsibilities, your life, and everything just to be with them. But it's most likely not reciprocated. And then also you become isolated in the midst of it because you feel like in this cycle, like exactly how you said. um and I feel like you don't see those things, and sometimes when you look back you're able to see the red flags from the beginning, but it takes a
Yes.
lot of like that work and self-awareness, same through therapy, that you can see you're like, wow, like that person started like making little comments about me and that made me insecure,
Yes.
and you're like, how did I let that happen? Or like, wait, like that person was unsure about me and told me, like I remember the first year of one of my relationships, the person told me like, I just feel like I'm not really like don't love you in the same way anymore, like in the
Wow.
first year. And I feel like that, instead of making me like open up my eyes to be like, Liz, like, I don't think this is healthy for you. Or like that person would compare me to other people, like, oh, if you were just like
Wow.
this person. And those things were like little things in the beginning. And I feel like if like later
Mhm.
on, I, instead of seeing it as like a red flag, I would say like, oh no, no, but like, you know, like they're just probably going through something, or like, let me stay around and let them know how they should choose me. Like, you know, it was a lot of like, no, but like didn't want to believe it, even though they were telling me with their words and their actions that that wasn't the case. So I feel like it took a long time to accept what was, you know, that it was going to end, you know, because exactly
Yeah.
what you said, like you want a reality, like you want a future, and you're like, this is where it's going to go no
Yeah.
matter what. And it's like, no, like at the end of the day, people have free choice. Definitely on and off relationships, I would say, are very unhealthy and very toxic. And if you are in one, you have to really question and figure out what is the cycle you guys are doing. Because I remember, and you can share about yours, but like, I remember even in my cycle that I was in, like I can count it to the month and the day of when we would start the cycle again. Like it would be like, okay, we weren't talking, we wouldn't talk for like a week, then we would talk again, then things would be good for like 2 weeks, then we would
Yeah.
get in a fight again. That it was like literally like I can time it by the month. And I'm like,
Wow.
wait, like there's a pattern here. Like there's, when in therapy, like I was actually in therapy before the even breakup happened. And in therapy, it
Mm.
was like my therapist was like, do you not see it? Like, do you see that? Like you're literally, you can count every month. And I'm like, what? Like this is like, you know, but of course I was still in the relationship. I still wasn't ready to like really let it go. So how about for you? Was it something that like was created over time, the cycle, and did you feel like it was off?
Yes, I'm gonna talk about like the worst breakup, heartbreak I've had in all my relationships. And that relationship started, you know, he would definitely make comments about like either my weight. He saw himself very grandiose. Started like you said, love bombing so hard. And you know, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous. Like I've never had anybody like you. You're the type of girl I'll everybody wants to have. And then eventually it went from, you know, you're beautiful to like you're cute, which I don't know if you know this, but from cute and to beautiful, there's a
It
big
definitely
gap.
changes. Yes. It's like, wait a second. I'm
It's
not
like
just
you're
cute. I'm drop dead
I'm
gorgeous. Okay.
yes. And you know, and like I noticed that. And I noticed like he stopped complimenting me gradually. And I also remember there was one time that he said, and it was very early in the relationship, we had been dating for like probably like 2 months. He said, you know, like I just don't feel like I'm like, you know, like I feel like sparkles for you, like, you know. And
Mm,
I remember that day, and I was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you know, I've been working so hard to get you um for this amount of time. And like I've been the one pursuing you. And so you're totally in love with me, but I feel like I am not there. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, are you
yeah.
crazy? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and after that, it started like literally going downhill. Like,
Yeah.
and and you know, to people that don't know, it's like, then why did you stay? I'm like, well,
Mm,
they love bombed me. I was completely blind. This person
mm-hmm.
like did a lot of like love bomb me. So I was like in an all-time high. Like it was just like, wow, this person, wow. Like I've never experienced this much love, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, they future fake. They do a lot of future faking. So they're like, yeah, we're gonna get married. Yes, I want to, you know, live in this
Mm-hmm.
particular city with you. Like I can't wait till we get there. And then you're, you know, not like, and back then, just say this therapy and all of these I would say
Like mental
these
health awareness.
mental health awareness and the the naming of a particular subject like love bombing or future faking, all of that is coming to light now. You know, I feel
Mm-hmm.
like it's more it's more popular now versus
Mm-hmm.
back then. And I never knew anything about that. So I was not aware
Mm-hmm.
that guys can actually go up to you and literally lie to your face and then and then gaslight you when
Mm-hmm.
you're like, okay, but what you're telling me, it's not real. Like what you're doing is not okay. So
Mm-hmm.
it was a lot of that. And I really noticed I didn't notice all of that until the relationship was about to end. That this person really, from the beginning, this is not from like about my weight, that escalated super quickly, which is such a low blow. But like it's like really, like from the beginning he makes it, oh, you should lose like 10 pounds or like 5 pounds, all the way to like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
like comparing me to other women that he
Mm-hmm.
would see. And that really killed my self-esteem. It was like,
Yeah.
wow, this person that said at the beginning that they loved me so much now look down on me. But it doesn't seem like they looking down on me. It looks like they care. So they want me
Mm.
to lose weight because of my health. But in reality, it's because of they need to have someone that look as good as them next
Mm-hmm.
to them.
Because they
So
feel like they're the hottest thing on the block. And they feel
yeah,
like they deserve to be with a model. And
yeah, those
like
are no, yeah.
I'm like, sir. So the breakup happened, and I know that we talked about how you don't accept it. What do you feel like makes a breakup harder? Like for me personally, I'm a really big I feel like if you are trying to be friends with your ex, let's start there. That
It's not.
is what makes it 10 times harder to really first accept it, but also move forward. For me personally, I realized that, like, because I was in a long term relationship, of course, like you're so used to talking to someone and, you kind of want to keep cordial because it's like you've been together for such a long time. Like at the end of the day, someone ends up benefiting from the friendship because you are
Yeah,
emotionally still attached, but you're not committed. So like someone else gets the benefit, like have the cake and eat it too. Like they don't like they get to have your attention. They can call you whenever. They can, like you can care for them, but then they're not in a relationship with you. So like that ends up backfiring. I got to the point where I saw that what was making it so much harder is that, he would like hit me up and like he was like, oh, I was super paranoid about like checking my stories to see if he looked at my stuff and like having like
hmm
that access. And I feel like at first, like, some of my friends were like, you need to block him, like you need to stop, like you need to cut it off. And I'll be like, no, but like that's like so dramatic, like that's so extra,
yeah.
like no, but like I don't really have to. I just won't respond. But it's like you were still like, even if you didn't respond, that was still like in the back of your head. Like you were still giving space to that. And like I didn't want to cut that off because I felt like if I cut it off, there was no hope anymore. Like we weren't gonna get back together. Like he's gonna move on, he's gonna forget about me. Like I don't want that. So
Yeah,
that was like the deeper level of why I still wanted to be friends, is because also it was seen as dramatic, like I'm being super dramatic, like I have no heart if I cut him off. But I realized it took me a while, but I realized that that wasn't
yeah,
helpful. Like, so I feel like if you're trying to move forward after a breakup, cutting off contact is the best thing, and
yes,
focusing your energy on you, and don't make anyone make you feel bad. Like do what's best for you, and if that means temporary or permanently, it's okay. That person has decided to not be in your life anymore, so they do not get access to you whenever they want, however they want, get to mess with you just because it benefits them. What are your thoughts on that?
absolutely.
What
Oh,
what was
absolutely. Yes, I think that everything you said was so real and it's true. And one thing that I also thought is like, you know, blocking people, it's not immature.
Mhm.
I do not, that's like an unpopular opinion. Back in the day, people would say, "Oh, you blocked them, that's so extreme," like you said, and "Oh, that's so immature." I will block you and your mother and your family and all and
Mhm.
everyone that needs to get blocked in order to protect my peace, you know?
Mhm.
Because when you still have access to this person or this person still has access to you,
Mhm.
it's like you said, like they can come and go as they please. And then, oh my gosh, the anxiety of,
Mhm.
oh, this person is, are they going to talk to me? And that access that they have will not let you accept the fact that it's over. It
Mhm.
will not.
Mhm.
Um, back when I was saying, there was a relationship where the breakup happened and then the heartbreak happened 2 months after. That was because in those 2 months, I was still hoping. I was still
Mhm.
seeing this person very
Mhm.
often, very
Mhm.
frequently. And I still had hope that the
Yeah.
relationship would continue and that one
Mhm.
day he will change his mind and he'll be like, "Jeyleen, I'm sorry, I made a mistake," or "Hey, I really, really want to work this out." But the
Mhm.
case was that no, that was not going to happen. And then
Mhm.
until, you know, and that's when the heartbreak comes because you can still say, "Yeah, we broke up," but the heartbreak comes when you realize that the relationship truly ended, you
Yeah.
know when you're like, okay, there's no way now that we cannot get back, like we cannot get back together. And
Mhm.
that's when the, true heartbreak comes and the healing needs to start immediately. And another thing is, you know, um, yeah, like if you have to take drastic, very drastic, quote unquote,
Mhm.
um, methods to really separate yourself from this person, do so. Like,
Mhm.
and do not let anybody tell you that what you're doing is wrong. Oh,
Mhm.
like, I had a relationship where I like it made it easier when I had moved from another city.
Mhm.
There was another one that was 10 times easier because I moved from another country.
You're like, I'm out.
I moved. There was one relationship that I moved um, schools when I was very
Mhm.
young. So
Not
um,
because of the relationship, it was just life, right?
it's just life
Yeah.
happened.
Okay.
But
But if
that's
you
when I was
have
like,
to, yeah.
yeah, the
Yeah.
getting back, like the ending and coming back together. Like I said, I keep thinking that because that's like my life story in
Yeah, like
relation
the on and off relationships. Mhm.
being in the same, having access to each other.
Like the same
It's
church, the
the
same
same church.
job,
Yes, absolutely. And if I've
same
had to
friends.
same friends, absolutely. Like I've had to cut people off. I've had to
Mhm.
separate myself. I've had to um change, try to not go to the same church. I've had
Mhm.
to take those precautions in being around the same people because it is very hard. It's
Mhm.
hard to um see this person all the time. And it's not fair to your healing process. It's like you can go, let's say 10 miles per hour. When you're seeing this person so frequently, you literally go 2 miles per hour. Like you're barely moving.
Mhm.
And there's you don't have to pretend to be strong. You don't have to, suck it up and just like deal with it. Like and having to see this person, still have access to this person. No, block everybody, block them from everything and start your healing process
Mhm.
immediately. um so yeah, I feel like that one is like a big a big one.
Mhm.
um and not jumping into another relationship immediately.
Mhm.
um that is one thing that, people say, oh, you'll get over it once you start in a new relationship. You do not, that really doesn't work. Like you can do the work, and then like eventually, if you feel ready, you can like start being open to meeting people, but not immediately jumping into another relationship. That is
Mhm.
not, you need to do the healing. The relationship ended for a reason, and no one can say that, oh, I had no fault in the
Mhm.
relationship. So there's that means that there's healing that needs to be done. There's some
Mhm.
underlying trauma conditions that you really need to look at before you
Mhm.
jump into the next relationship. So
Yeah, because when you can find someone that is going to be great for a distraction, like a good
yeah.
time, but
Yes.
at the end of that, you're gonna, as time, because remember, when you first meet someone, you have like those high feelings, those exciting feelings. You're like in like a cloud, like that's normal. But imagine when you're coming out of a relationship that maybe you're like, oh, I'm so tired of it. You even feel like, oh, now I found this relationship. Now this is the person. So you even attach even more
Yes.
without seeing, like, wait, like what happened between like this person and this person? Like, let me figure it out before I make the same mistake. Because as time goes, you'll see yourself in the same pattern. You're like, wait, but
Yeah.
I thought this person was different. And it's like, no, because you didn't give yourself enough time to really heal and see the things that you had a part into play, which takes a lot of, honestly, takes a lot of hard work. And like,
Mhm.
you have to humble yourself and be like, okay, I wasn't perfect either. And I completely know that in my relationship, I was not perfect. I had a lot of baggage that I brought into it. But I also realized that I didn't really know how to see the flags that were red as
Yes.
much. Like I was trying to like overpass it, you know? Um at the same time, like exactly what you said, like, you can, aside from getting into another relationship, you can also do a lot of distraction, like going out, traveling. Like you can try
Mhm.
to distract yourself, but if you don't feel the pain, you will not heal it. Like at some point, there has to come a point where, yes, you will cry, you will feel sad. And those are normal feelings because that's like your process. And if you just like want to feel happy all the time, like that's not realistic
Yeah.
because at night, like for me, the breakup time that was the worst, it was at night when it's like
Mhm.
no one can distract me. Like it's late at night, like I'm watching a show, I'm by myself in my room, getting ready for bed, and like my thoughts start going. And I feel like the nighttime was the worst. Sometimes the weekends, because like you're so used to doing stuff with your partner. And then when you guys break up, it's like, wait, what am I doing with my life? And I feel like that was also very hard. So I had to figure out how to deal with those feelings when either someone couldn't hang out, life happened, and I had to like do
Yeah.
my regular thing. So I feel like in those moments, what helped me, like in the times that, like, holidays, weekends, and all of that, like and at night, it was like journaling, talking to a friend, writing out like what I was feeling or what I wanted to even say to my ex, but don't send it. Just like
Yeah, do not.
write it out. And then if you do feel the urge to talk to them, just ask yourself, like, what am I going to get out of this? And
Yeah.
what are they going to say? And like, if I do send that message or I do say, what if they don't respond? How bad will I feel?
Mhm.
Or what if they say, like, leave me the hell alone? Or like, what if, like, what if you don't get that reaction? And like, how is this
Yeah.
helping you towards your healing? Because at the end of the day, if the breakup happened, most likely, unless there's some huge transformation and therapy and work, most likely you guys will not end up back together. And that
Yes.
takes a lot of acceptance. And I know it hurts, but you have
Mhm.
to like learn to work through that. The best advice that I remember got about breakups was like when you were with someone, they played a part in your life. So like especially if you had friends together, you guys had all these things together, like they filled these like jars, in your life,
Yes.
and they filled these places. When they leave your life, those jars are empty. And you have to look at those jars
Yes.
and start seeing, okay, So now I lost these friends because they were their friends. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
have to start establishing new friends. Okay, I used to go to the movies with them all the time. Now I don't have them. So now I'm going to go to the movies either by myself or find other
Yeah.
people to go with. Like, okay, this person, I used to love doing this activity or eating at this place. Like, do you understand? Like, they fill little spots in your
Yeah.
life, and like learning to recognize what parts they left empty and filling them in for yourself, and finding ways, like
Yes.
either through your friends, support, therapy, church, figuring that out for
Mhm.
yourself.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think that, I mean, what you said about filling the space, like, it's so bad when relationships become your everything. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's, that's an unhealthy trait that I had where this person, and that's part of the codependency, like,
Mm-hmm.
this person was literally my everything. And um, it was like I did not make plans with anybody but this person.
Mm-hmm.
And when this person would, like, I felt my life was just like, like, oh, like it was such a disappointment and sadness when
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't hang out with this person.
Mm-hmm.
And when this person left, like abruptly, when, with the heartbreak, um, it was, I felt really, really empty. Like it was like
Mm-hmm.
this emptiness that I was like, wait, I gave so much power to this person in my life. And that cannot, absolutely, like, you cannot do that. You need to make sure that, in like, I guess, as part of the healing, it's like you really split your love, um, little love tanks, because you
Mm-hmm.
have like little love tanks that you place it with different people, not just one
Mm-hmm.
person.
Yeah.
Um, so that was like kind of like, they cannot be your everything. No one deserves to have that much responsibility in your
Mm-hmm.
life to be your everything. That's just not what you're supposed to do, and that's not healthy at all.
Yeah.
Um,
Even in healthy
so
relationships, like that are people
yeah,
that are married, like they have other things in their life, even though they're like with their partner, you know?
yeah, and that's a red flag. Like when you're stop doing what you love to do. That's
Mm-hmm.
kind of like, yeah, no, you're not supposed to stop. If you like drawing, you're not supposed to stop that. If you love reading, doing things for yourself, like self-care, go to the spa, like hanging out with your girlfriends, having like a girls' night out. If you stop doing those things, that's a big, huge red flag that the
Mm-hmm.
relationship is not, it's not going well. And, you know, if you're codependent or like an empath and you haven't healed through that trauma, you're going to end up dating a narcissist and you're going to attract a narcissist. That's a huge red flag. The minute I started not focusing on myself and just having all this energy towards this person, and I would say, oh, I have so much love to give. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like I just have so much love in me that I just want to give it to you. No,
They do
I
not
have to give
deserve
it
that
to
love.
myself. I have to
Yes.
give it to myself. Like,
Yes.
yeah, so that's
Yes.
a huge red flag for ourselves, because it's not always them. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
it can be them, but also in us. Like, that's
Mm-hmm.
that's something that we need to be aware of, and
Yeah.
um in the breakup and the healing process.
Yeah. I mean, breakups are tough already. And I feel
Yeah.
like getting to that place where you start realizing, I know it takes time. So, like, right when you're in a breakup, you don't start thinking, like, okay, what are the things that I did wrong? Like, I know you start feeling the sadness and the anger and all these things.
Yeah.
But I feel like eventually the goal is to get to the healing where you actually can look back and be like, like, it had to happen, it had to end. And even though you don't
Yeah.
want to accept it, but I feel like how you're in the breakup, like don't make it harder on yourself. Like I remember I
Yeah.
used to beat myself up about like what did I say to cause it? It's all my fault. Like, oh my God, like he's gonna find someone
Yeah.
better than me. Oh my God, I'm making him better for someone else. I mean, you remember Jeyleen. I was like freaking like
Yes.
so
You're
freaking
always the same.
paranoid. Yeah. It's like, oh my God, he's gonna be like the perfect person
For
for someone
someone else.
else. And I'm
Mm-mm.
missing out. And like, because that's what he made me feel like I'm like,
Yeah.
he's the catch, not me.
Yes.
Like, he's the
Yes.
one that I'm missing out on. And with, over time, I have realized like what has helped me to heal and move forward is to stop beating myself up. Like, there was a lot to play into it, and that person had to play into it. You did, but it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't going to work out. And there was nothing, if it wasn't going to work out, is nothing that you could have done to save it more. I
Yep.
feel like I did everything under the sun
Yes.
to try to make that thing work, and it was not going to work. And I feel like, um, you know, like torturing myself with these thoughts of like this person's going to be better for someone else. I was with this person, and if in those that time that I was with them, I saw the best, the worst, and everything, and they didn't do any work after that, like they're going to be the same person.
The same
Because
person.
just like how they were great in the beginning with you, of course they're going to be great in the beginning with someone else. And that's not to
Yeah.
say that, I wish them bad, or like they're going to be forever like that. No, it's just that for me, I stopped torturing myself with those thoughts of like, you know what, and if they do get better, if they go to therapy, good for them. But at the same time, I know that I'm not missing out on anything, because what's
Yeah.
meant for me is meant for me. And like, it's so cliche, but it's so true. Like, when you stop,
Mm-hmm.
like, like telling yourself these lies of like, I'm never going to find anyone, that's the best I can get. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that stops your healing, and that makes your breakup worse. And if someone ever told you those, I want you to remember that those are lies. Like, you
All life.
can and will be in a healthy relationship. You are lovable. You are able to get in another relationship. I mean, look at you. Like, you're freaking gorgeous. Like, and I feel like until we accept that for ourselves and
Yeah.
see that, then we're able to move forward.
Yes, absolutely. And if you walk out of the relationship feeling that you will never get anything better than that, like I know I've been there,
Mhm.
there's some work that needs to happen. Like I always, I'm always going to push like do the work and go to therapy because, coming out and like doing therapy immediately after the breakup heartbreak happened, um, I thought that I was never going to get anyone better. I
Mhm.
really thought like, wow, I wanted this future with this person, and now it's like I'm never gonna have a future as perfect as this person, quote unquote,
Mhm.
is. And no, the relationship, like you said, ended for a reason. And like if you're doing the work after a heartbreak or a breakup, you are already a better catch
Mm.
than that person that's not doing the work. You're already like you and that person moving on and not doing the work, you can literally be stuck and that person not like do the work, and eventually 5 years from now you probably have done some work and find the same person that you left if they
Mm.
didn't do anything. So it takes two healthy people in order for a relationship to work, not one healthy and one unhealthy. It takes
Mhm.
two healthy people. Um, and yeah, like that's so important to recognize that we are valuable. We are going to, as long as we're working on ourselves, we're already valuable, but as long as we're working on ourselves, um, we best believe that we will end up with someone way better than our exes because we are no longer going to allow the
Mhm.
same um, the same red flags to come in and ignore them.
Mhm.
As long as we become self-aware and understand what those red flags are.
Definitely. No, I think that part of, we're both here, like you can tell that we've both gone to therapy and we both had to take a certain route to help. And I know it's different for everyone, but I definitely feel like whatever you do after a breakup, I just hope that you take all the energy that you invested into that relationship and put it on you and like
Yeah.
invest it in you. And I hope that no matter what the outcome is, and I know that it's painful when you go through a breakup and sometimes you feel like nobody understands, but a lot of us experience similar things, even though in different situations. And I feel all those emotions, but what won't help you is by focusing so much on them, what they're doing, what if they've moved on, if they're better, if they're living their best life. Like I feel like
Yes.
putting all the energy after a breakup, like, and focusing on you, focusing on your healing, doing the things that you love, being around the friends that you want, like
Yeah.
getting the support, like that is going to help you become the best version of yourself for the future of someone else, and like don't feel pressured to get into another relationship either. Like exactly what
Yeah.
we just said, like take your time and know like your journey is different than someone else's. I feel like educating myself about mental health and about relationships and about attachment styles and narcissistic relationships, like I literally feel like I got a psychology minor. I really do.
Yes. We love to see it.
Yes, and but it's helped like bring that awareness because then now we can be like, okay, these are the things that I'm going to like watch out for and like see in myself. And then now I have a support system that if I start
Yeah.
going back, they're going to like help me to remind me,
Yeah.
of what I'm not going to allow again. Exactly what you just said. I love that.
Yes.
Because we have to remember that like all the work that we're doing and investing in ourselves like is worth it because you are your best investment. Like you are your
Yes.
best return on
Absolutely.
investment. And if it's for your future family, for your future partner, it's not going to go wasted. Like you healing doesn't stop you from eventually being with someone else or like whatever, I feel like right now is not like my focus is definitely not about, oh my God, I can't wait to get into another relationship. Like right now, I'm like,
Oh
no,
no.
I'm
You're living
I
it
am
up.
good. Yeah, I am good.
Yes.
Like
Single
I am,
life.
yeah. And maybe because like we both talked about this like the other day of like I think because we have both been in like back-to-back relationships and realizing like wow, I've actually never truly been single like
Yeah.
to the point of like I know that eventually everybody wants some, to, company or companionship, but I feel like this time is can be so useful if you just like see
Yes.
this as like a blessing, you
Yeah.
know, and like, I need this, like, I need this time and I need to like work on myself and I need to like enjoy my life aside from being with someone else because that
Yes.
person will never be
Absolutely.
able to fill me.
Yeah, and it gets tiring. Like there's a point where, like, for example, kind of like my previous relationship, I got to a point where I realized, after doing the therapy, I went immediately into therapy. I was like, I need to do this differently this time.
Mm,
Because previously my rule for myself was like, okay, I'm gonna end a relationship and then I'm gonna give myself a year till my next relationship.
mm-hmm,
But in that year, I would either, um, like be still open to talk to people. But
mm-hmm,
this time around, I chose to be single, I chose to be single
mm-hmm,
and not talk to anybody, not,
mm-hmm.
you know, try to not like entertain someone consistently,
Mm-hmm.
like and get into like a routine of texting someone. Like
Yeah.
I just realized that just it's been so long since I've been single, like
Mm-hmm.
to the point where like I literally just don't have anybody um to kind of talk to every day.
Mm-hmm.
And being single by choice is so powerful, and I've seen it. Like, definitely, the self-esteem has increased to the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I kind of like leaned back, and I purposely started talking about my previous relationship to my friends to, like you said, keep me accountable, and
Mm-hmm.
also to not keep me accountable to not go back,
Mm-hmm.
and also for to discuss what happened there with me, and the patterns that they probably saw in me in the
Mm-hmm.
relationship, so I can also have that as a topic of conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally end up doing all this work, and I get to a point where eventually I I'm open to dating. I have my family,
Mm-hmm.
like their eyes on me, and my family and my friends with their eyes on me, and I could be I could be, not only be self-aware, but having people aware of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so important when you immediately, um, in your healing process, rely on your friends and your family.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's so powerful. I didn't do that in my previous relationship and breakup.
Mm-hmm.
I did not do that at all. Like,
Mm-hmm.
but with the last one, I did. I saw the difference in it. Like, my friends were there, and they were not. And this is the importance of having good friends, but that's another that's another topic.
Mm-hmm.
But really relying on those people that truly love you is it just hits different. Like, the healing process, it makes it easier that you can pick up the phone and call. And I remember, when I went to that heartbreak, I think you and I met immediately after, and
Mm-hmm.
it was like, wow, like that was such a great time now that I look
Mm-hmm.
back. And I was like, wow, I needed that so much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I called all my friends, this happened, it's done. Like,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then it's definitely, it definitely makes a difference when you
Mm-hmm.
are purposeful, like intentional, with the purpose of healing. Like, you are, it makes a difference when you immediately go deep into, real like trying to understand what happened,
Mm-hmm.
moving forward, like what can you do to heal from that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it definitely makes a difference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'll make sure to not repeat the same patterns,
Yeah.
and see it like from a bigger picture. I feel like
Yes.
therapy and my friends and my support group have really just given me a different perspective of
Yes.
that, and like exactly what you said, like to be there. And sometimes when you're in relationships you do lose friends because
Oh yeah.
of the type of things. So like building those friends is also important again, like, and letting them know like, hey, I know that I like kind of like being honest, like I know I neglected you, and I know that I didn't,
Yes.
and I know that takes a lot of, again, like humility, but I think that friendship or support, if that's your family, your friends, whatever the case may be, is needed in life, even when you have someone. And that's what I hope, like, even when I'm in a relationship, even when I'm married, like, I still want people, good people around me, because of
Of
course it
course.
all depends. But um, doing that part and doing the work will always be worth it. Um,
Yes.
so what encouragement do you have, Jeyleen, for someone that's currently going through a breakup, um, and is kind of like in that process right now?
I would say, um, feel the feels, feel the
Mm,
emotions, um, take the time that you need to feel. I remember when it first happened, I spent a good day without crying. Um, and then the next day, something happened. I found out something, and that's when all the tears came out, and it felt like it felt like I was literally kind of dying inside. Like,
mm,
it felt like something died inside. And that feeling is absolutely normal. and
Yeah.
it's not gonna last forever. When you're
Mm-hmm.
going through a heartbreak, breakup, it's not gonna last forever. The emotions are gonna go, and the sooner you face those emotions, this
Mm-hmm.
the you know the faster you're gonna start feeling the healing. And
Mm-hmm.
I went from crying every day to crying once a week
Mm-hmm.
to like not crying for a whole month about the situation,
Yeah.
like. And yeah, because I'm a crybaby. I cry for everything, but about the situation.
Mm-hmm.
um, but that is, feel the feels and rely on your support system, on your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Seek out those friends that you can trust. Your parents, your if
Mm-hmm.
your aunt, your uncle, that person that your cousin, I rely a lot on my sister too. Something that I
Yes.
really
Mm-hmm.
haven't done.
Mm-hmm.
Like I told my sister what happened, and she was there for me. And having that support system really helps. And of course, therapy is finding a good therapist is
Mm-hmm.
very important, because it's a moment for you. That's when you
Mm-hmm.
start doing your self-care, from my experience. But do not try to put someone else's needs before you, or trying to help other people when you're the one who needs the most help in that moment.
Mm-hmm.
So really, really focus on you. Do things that you love. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I I listened to a lot of comedy podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
I read self-help books, a lot of self-help podcasts too. I tried to get so much information to try to understand what I was going through and
Mm-hmm.
what happened. And then at the same time, I was like taking care of myself. I would not um, watch like chick flicks or nothing like that. Marvel movies all the way, like
Mm-hmm.
superhero movies. And I would
All
really,
good
really,
feels.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like really protect yourself. Create
Mm-hmm.
the walls that you need to, and the environment that you need to, in order for you to heal. If
Mm-hmm.
that's, separating yourself from other people, from certain topics, certain movies, certain songs, all of
Mm-hmm.
that. Do whatever it takes, because literally your life depends on that moment where you're going through that breakup and heartbreak, you
Mm-hmm.
know. So I
Yeah,
think that
that's
would be
so
my
good.
encouragement.
Yes, I
Yeah.
completely agree with you. And girl, you've grown so much and like you've gone through the process, and also I want you guys to know that like we talk about breaks and I'm gonna talk from my perspective, but like I'm still, even though the breakup did happen, like, and I have done the work, I still have my days. I still have
Oh
my
yeah.
moments. I still have like my little setbacks. And it's normal, and don't beat yourself up
Yes.
about it, and don't feel like, oh my God, I have to do like 10 things to like become healed. And if not, like, no, like this is just like our
Yes.
conversation on like things that didn't help our breakups, things that have helped our breakup. And like you can see when you have grown over time, and like give yourself
Yes.
grace for that, and like don't beat yourself up when you invested yourself and your identity in a relationship. Like you literally feel like you've lost it. But
Hmm.
over time I was able to like create a better strength and support and like view of it, and just know that it will pass. You won't feel
Yes.
like this forever, and give yourself that time and space. And you're doing like one day, like literally take it one day at a time. And don't compare like your journey to anybody else's, like your breakup journey. I used to like also like always be like, oh, but like they moved on so fast, like I should be over this, like I should.
Yeah.
No, like take your time. And you're doing great, like even if it's just like little things that you do each day to make yourself better. And I love how you said like even comedy and like like bringing that in your life again,
Yes.
like is super
Absolutely.
important, and doing like fun things.
Yeah.
We've gone on trips and like we've done stuff, and it's like, yes, like you
Yes.
realize that like life is so much more than like just your pain and just like your breakup,
Yes.
even though I know that for a lot of people, like breakups feel like their whole life, feel like I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm going to do next. But, you know, I just hope that you remember, like, you're not alone. Like, look out for those people, and that you deserve someone that chooses you 100% of the time, like is there and wants to be with you, and like that you feel loved, and it's a healthy place for both of you guys. So, I just want to encourage you guys with that. So I'm glad we had this conversation, Jeyleen. Thank you so much for being a part. Where can people connect with you on social media?
Well, I'm on Instagram. My name is Jesilsa, is JESILSA_. They're, posting a lot of trips because this is 2022, traveling.
Yes, love it for you. So, yes. Awesome. So make sure to follow her. And I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation, and I hope that you got something out of it. And if anything that we said spoke to you, or you want to speak about your breakup or anything, that you can always hit me up at Elizabeth Sappy on Instagram, or even email me, let me know. Or if you guys want us to do any more conversations about breakups, let us know. Leave a review. And I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you guys in the next episode.